turnaround in the action here as we start things in game number 2. Still doing the pitching, though, just now in a starting pitching position is Babby. Babby doing the pitching for the Knights. We'll find out who's doing the pitching for Avery Point when we get there. And it's a 1-2 hole to start things for the leadoff man for Avery Point. Batting in the leadoff spot for Avery Point is a player who is not in the lineup, or excuse me, who was not in this same spot in the lineup when we started things, as Malcolm mentioned. Probably got the move up the batting order because of his good day at the plate in game number 1. He starts game number 2 off with a strikeout, though. The Knights had to wait quite some time for their first strikeout of the game in game number 1. They get it right out of the gate here, number 2. Here's some familiarity from game number 1. Dominic Morbito batting in the 2-hole spot. Morbito, a 1-for-1 day in game number 1, even though he had 4 at-bats. He was hit by a pitch twice, he walked once, and got a single. Could not keep Dominic Morbito off the base paths, the Knights could. Danny Jackson doing the catching in game number 1. Excuse me, Manny Jackson doing the catching in game number 1. It looks to be Haywood behind the plate right now. Get confirmation on that in a moment, though. And now the count runs to 3-1. So Morbito, more of the same here in game number 2. Discipline at the plate on display. The hitter's pitch is hit softly to the shortstop for out number 2. More familiarity with this Avery Point lineup as Jaden Fowler is once again batting in the number 3 spot. Fowler looking to make sure it's not a 1-2-3 inning to start for the Knights. Fowler an RBI in game number 1 to go along with a fly out and a ground out. That RBI came on an RBI ground out, actually. And the outside portion of the plate available in game number 1, not so to start things here in game number 2, as that one on the outer half, but called a ball, 1-1. And swinging on the third pitch. It's hit the third, but it's a routine, or excuse me, hit the second, and it's a routine third out. That was what I was trying to say. And it's another ground out for Fowler, and it is our first opportunity to see the pitching staff and the batters for the Knights when we come back. It's game number 2, and it started. Bottom of the first when we return. And we will do just that, Will.i.am. We are getting it started here in the bottom of the first inning. It's amazing as the years go by, we get closer and closer to entering a generation where people will not understand the brilliance of mid-2000s Black Eyed Peas. They were a hit machine factory, man. That's all they did. They made hits. Austin Mumma was the leadoff man here in the first game for the Knights. Not the case here in game number 2. First pitch swinging, and first pitch will reach base. It won't be a hit, but it will get the train rolling here for the Knights. Mitchell Haywood steps into the batter's box. That is Vincent Martinez. Mitchell Haywood squares one up, sends it into the gap in right center, and Haywood looking for his second double of the day, and he will get it. Manny Jackson stepping into the plate and up to the plate, excuse me, with an opportunity to hit with 2 men on and 2 men in scoring position. This is a position that the Knights found themselves in more than a few times in game number 1, and they were able to capitalize sometimes, but not most of the time, and that was a big reason why they came away losers in game number 1. Looking to put all that behind them, and what a way to do it. Start with an opportunity, no outs, runners in scoring position in the bottom of the first inning. What a way to get that sour taste of game number 1 out of your mouth. Haywood is at second, and he will probably stay there as that ball is foul and uncatchable. Shortstop was hustling for that ball like Jeter going into the stands, but no theatrics here at the Castle. Instead, it's another trip into the left-hander's batter's box for Manny Jackson. Manny Jackson had himself an afternoon in game number 1, a double, a single, reached on an error, and a ground out. It's a productive day with the bat in the hand so far for Jackson, but also some plays behind the plate as well. Jackson caught a good game in game number 1. Not doing the catching in game number 2, though, I believe. So the Knights reached on an error with the first at-bat of the game, and then a double follows. And Jackson finds the hole. And he scores 1. He scores 2. But he may get caught at second, and he is thrown out at second on a good throw from the left fielder. So we do see our first out of the inning come off the bat of Manny Jackson, but we do see our first 2 RBIs of the game come off the same bat. So it'll go down as a single for Manny Jackson as he's thrown out at second, but 2 RBIs on that swing. And that'll give the Knights not only the first lead of this game, but it gives them the first lead of the afternoon. They didn't hold the lead at any point in game number 1. Now here, game number 2, 1 out, 2-run lead. You'll live off that math. Emmanuel Morales has 3 hits and a home run to his name so far this season. He's seeing his first action this afternoon as he sat out game number 1. Morales getting a chance to bat with the bases empty, with Jackson being thrown out at second. And Morales almost took a child's head off behind me. Little girl was running over to the soccer fields behind us and had no idea a foul ball was coming her way. 1-2. And Morales with a hard swing, but an empty one. Emmanuel Maldonado stepping into the batter's box. Maldonado came up for his team in a big spot in the late stages of game number 1. He only got 1 at bat in the game as he came in relief. But in that 1 at bat, he got a walk and he represented the game-winning run, though he was stranded at first. Was one of those what could have been moments for the Knights. They had more than a few of those in game number 1. They're looking to avoid that here in game number 2 and off to a good start. Maldonado having himself a good at-bat here as he's staying away from what he can't do anything with. It has been windy since the start of the action here at the Castle, but the wind has picked up a bit here in terms of intensity and bitterness, as what has been a sunny afternoon has turned into a sunny, windy early evening. Cold one here at the Castle, long story short, is my point. 3-1, and oh, off the glove. The double O. First the O on the solid contact, and then the O on the almost catch by the pitcher, and Maldonado. It'll go down as a ground out, and that's all she wrote for the first inning. The Knights get out to their first lead of the afternoon and looking to get the split against Avery Point. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 up for Avery Point when we come back. Hey, sir, next time, can you just avoid walking through the middle, because I got the camera set up right here? No, it's fine. I was just letting you know. And Bavy will come back out for the second inning of work. It was a 1-2-3 inning for him to start the first. Let's see what he has here in the second. He's facing Zachary Mascaro. Mascaro has found himself in an early 1-2 hole, and Babby is making quick work of the Avery Point batters. Second strikeout of the game for Babby. And this is a much different pitching performance, at least to start things, than we saw in game number 1. We saw the starting pitcher in game number 1 for the Knights pitch in and out of jams all through the first 4 innings. He pitched into more jams than he could pitch out of eventually, but still a strong pitching performance. But here, we got Babby out to a dominating start as he finds himself out in front once again. Or he's trying to find himself out in front once again. And he sees the first hit of the game go for Avery Point, and it is off number 12's bat, Tyler Rice. Tyler Rice had a double, a walk, and a triple in game number 1. So Tyler Rice, much like Manny Jackson, picking up right where he left off in game number 1. And that is up the elevator chute. Will somebody come down with it? They will. Enrique Diaz will make the second out. So 2 out, sandwiched on either side of that single, on both sides of that single, I should say, excuse me. Babby still making quick work, and oh my goodness, what a pick play to first, and that almost brought the crowd to their feet, as that was a half a second and maybe a quarter of an inch away from being the third out. Again. Woo, Nelly. Not many times will you see the second one be even closer than the first. Everybody's on the edge of their seat after that. Babby finally comes to the plate with the second strike. And now he's one pitch away, I should say, from the third out. Safe again, this one. Easy to get back. Babby gonna focus on the batter, I'm sure, now here. And he gets a soft grounder over to third. This is gonna be a tough play. And a great job by Maldonado of keeping that ball in front of him, and a heck of an effort by number 25 to try and make it close. Manuel Morales, the one at third who made that a lot closer than everyone was expecting it to be. Great hustle at third. Great hustle by Maldonado to steal a base hit and maybe an RBI. What a play by number 24. Maldonado puts that error he made in the first game out of his mind as he does his Beth Keith Hernandez impression, holding the line and getting out number 3. Liam Bowers doing the batting here, leading off for the Knights. Liam Bowers really had himself an afternoon to start this thing. We'll run through his stats here for you in 1 second. Liam Bowers, a walk, a hit by pitch, a bunt, and a strikeout. But on that walk and hit by pitch, he found a way to get 3 stolen bases and come around and score 2 runs. So Liam Bowers, not productive in terms of the average, but certainly filling up the stats sheet for his team. And he is, watch the count go to even now. Liam Bowers loved to start this second inning by getting on base, and he will do not only to Liam Bowers, but also mighty close to being Eric Elliott is the one who made the final out of the game in game number 1. Added with the bases loaded and a chance to be the hero. Maybe didn't get a chance to be the hero, but certainly was far from the GOAT in that one. And Bowers is quickly got to get back to first. And he gets there with maybe a second to spare.
Number 17.
Alexander Rivera doing the batting here for the Knights. He's hitting out of the 8-hole, so Rivera, worst comes to worst, wants to avoid that double play ball, make sure the 9-hitter hits in this inning as opposed to leading off the next. And that one will find its way all the way. Little girls soccer team that's practicing a souvenir. They're going to have to give it back. At first, let's see if we see a move on this pitch. We do indeed see a move, and the throw is wide of the bag, but a great job by the shortstop to keep it in the infield. That easily ball where Liam Powers by to third base. Instead, he'll stay at second to bat with a runner in scoring position. 1-2 is the, and the strikeout is the best friend of this. Friend didn't come to the door that time, but he'll knock again. Avery Point looking for the sweep of CCBC Essex here today as they got the win in game number 1. And Powers. Gotta say, I think the energy on this Knights team picked up just a little bit here in game number bench. Didn't hear a lot of that in game number 1. Now, that also could be everyone over there trying to warm themselves up as Monday. Certainly doesn't feel like baseball weather out there, but hey, given the state of the baseball world, I'm not complaining. I'm just glad to see the game being played in front of us, and that'll get past the catcher, and Bowers appeal around the base. And this is an at-bat here for Rivera. 3-2 is the count now. And now with Bowers moving all the way from first to third after the stolen base in the pass. Now in play, Rivera, can he send it into the outfield? He doesn't get a chance. Now, and for another inning. Let me try that one more time. For the second straight inning, the Knights have gotten 2 runners on here. Batting out of the number Salgado. Salgado, even though the Knights came away losers in the first game, Danny probably made the play of the game with throw to first is in time, and what a great job of covering first base by the second baseman. Or no, that was the first baseman. The second baseman was backing him up. I thought maybe the first baseman was diving in on that play. Martinez comes up to the on an error and then came around and scored in the first inning. And he wanted that one, and he had a good job of discipline. You saw those arms start to come around, but he checked it up at the left. Great body control. So the Knights, not even 2 innings into the game, and they have matched already their total runs in game number 1. They scored 3 runs already, and we're 5 outs into the game. The offense has come alive here. Really what it is, they've been able to string together hits with their solid base running. We saw solid base running in the first game. We just didn't see the Knights string together hits around that solid base running. And of course, we did see the Knights run into an out or two on the bases. So it wasn't all great in terms of base running. That you thought that they could steal a victory, just maybe. And that's a slow roller. Tough play by the pitcher, and was the foot off the bag? It was, but he got back on time, in time for out number 3. So the Knights strand a runner at second. Nine-hitter for off in the 3rd inning, but so this is a great opportunity for Avery Point to get back into this one. They're down 3 runs right now, and they have not really been able to figure out Babby. It's the same amount of hits that the Knights have, with runners in scoring position. Mockel will do the batting here. Avery Point. Dennis Mockel had 2 sacrifice bunts, a ground out, a pop fly, and he reached on an error. So productive day with the bat in his hand without a hit. So you saw the theme in game number 1 was not all things created equal in terms of hits, outs, runs. Well, they all count when they come around to score. Mockel was able to do his part. First pitch swinging, and that one is sent into the trees behind us to the right. Swinging at the second pitch as well, and he is excited to get something going here. And that's going to be a hit. And I see the number on the jersey for the pitcher as well. Abby started the game here for the Knights, but now number 36 is in. Let's get confirmation on who that is. That's Harry Fagan, who's on the mound right now. Oh, over. It's going to take another good throw back to first. Just for a second. And I think that extra second wants to talk about it. That'll give us a chance. Harry Fagan is 0-0 on the season. He has 2 appearances, and he has an ERA that he'd rather me not repeat right now. Opportunity to change. Though the Knights just ran in a moment as they saw on the bases turn into a head-scratching moment. Malcolm Mention is this Avery Point squad. He was very productive with the bat in his hand in game number. caught spending, wants to keep him where he is, keep this game where it is, but also you got to focus on that gentleman in the batter's box. Leadoff man, and he's had a productive day with a bat in his hand. You certainly can't forget or ignore the runner at first, but find that balance between him, possibly, and Fagan has it pop out of his glove, and that'll be an error on the pitch. Is now runners at first. We saw costly errors in the first game for the. Be seeing a costly error there. And it's Dominic Morbito up. He has a fly out. Fagan will play his only option at first, and it's another error, and it comes. And oh my! And maybe good things will happen, and good things are happening right now for Avery Point. As they score for the first time today, and it is that outside portion of the plate open once again. This is you want to get the strikeout here by keeping the runner at first, but just given the nature of this game at this level, you'll probably just take the out wherever you can get it. Though now with 2, the dream scenario is very much alive. If he can come here with a good ball here. And there it is. What a job of putting the pass behind him and focusing on the runner in front. And he gets that huge strikeout. Now, here comes the double play ball potentially. Morbito is strikeout victim number 3 for Avery Point. The run, throw to second is in time, right at the bag, but maybe the runner kicked it away. And regardless, from third will score, and it is now just a 1-run game as Avery Point the third. Zachary Mascaro. It's a 1-1 count. Strikeout victim of the game. And I think they just got a warning. Maybe a ball call. Fagan. I'll tell you, he's done a great job of pitching. Inning. When the ball's been hit to him, he struggled. But he is 1 pitch away. And he thought for sure that was going to be the pitch. But Mascaro sitting on it. Able to live to see another day. He'll see another pitch, but will it be the last pitch? It's still 1-2. It won't be the last pitch, as that one is a little bit too far outside. Good idea. Trying to attack that outside portion of the plate. Runs it even now at 2-2, though. 1 hit away from maybe tying this game, and that is foul by maybe an inch. Bag, and then it squirted over into foul territory at the last second. 2-2 will be the score. And that one is fair, and it'll tie us up. That was a rocket. And we are all even at 3 here in the third inning. Zachary Mascaro with an RBI single. Committed earlier in this inning. Costly. As it went from 3-0 to 3-3 in a yawn and a blink. No time at all. And here comes Tyler Rice, a man who has been on the bases more than a few times here today. He's wearing number 12, and he's got that open stance, somewhat like Jorge Soler, but he's certainly been on base like he's Ricky Henderson here today. Well, let's not go that far. Ricky's Ricky. Back, and this one is not as close. Still a sunny afternoon, but the hint of evening is right around the corner. These two teams would love to get a full 7 innings in before the end of this one. We'll see. And that one. And that could have been the third out, but instead, it's another opportunity for Tyler Rice. Tyler Rice looking to make the most of this gift, and he will not. Tyler Rice, strikeout victim number 4 here today. And here's Enrique Diaz. Diaz, a pop out in his first at-bat. I tell you, in the day and age we live in now, store-bought. I think it's less store-bought swings, and it's more just, you know, guys see what works for other people, and they try and recreate it. And that open stance, like, in today's day and age, I think it all has so much more to do. Start, of course, these guys, they start, but they all bring it up, and it's part of their follow-through. There you go. Side portion not open there. That one was a little low as well. I think he was looking to create a swing. Good eye. And the throw down to second is going to get through and go into center field. And that got past 2 sets of gloves. And just like that, Avery Point, productive third inning this has been for the gentlemen in the gray jerseys. And Fagan will have to come to the plate with another one. And another one on the outside part of the plate, but low. And it is now a full count. 3-2, 2 outs, and a freshly tied ball game. I'd say this is a big moment. Hit to first. And that'll put an end to the nightmare third inning for the Knights, as their 3-run lead is now a tie ball game.
has two. Yeah, it's down to one. And we gained a bar by doing that.
Oh, wow. All right, so in the future, nothing else can go on that. Just the camera. Yeah, I know.
Mitchell Haywood is up to bat here to lead off this top of the third inning. Mitchell Haywood had a double and came around to score in the first. Haywood would love to pick that right up. Leadoff double. Go a long way in getting the Knights back out in front here in this one. That 3-run lead the Knights were enjoying earlier in this contest was the first lead of the game for them, or the first lead of the afternoon, I should say, as they didn't lead at any point in game number one, as Haywood had the take sign on there, I'm sure, as he watches the count run to 3-1. And he will earn the leadoff walk here in the third inning. Go up thinking about a double and settle for a walk. You'll live with that any day of the week. Manny Jackson stepping into the plate here. He had a single and was thrown out at second in his first at-bat. That single drove in 2 RBIs. So Manny Jackson continuing his productive day at the plate as he was halfway through the cycle in game number one, and he beats out the double play there. I think everyone was expecting that to be a routine double play as that was hit right at the shortstop pretty much, but Manny Jackson showing off the wheels out of the batter's box. So it'll go down as a fielder's choice for Jackson. And Mitchell Haywood watches his walk disappear just like that. Here comes Emmanuel Morales. And Danny Jackson with a quick steal. That was a great job by the second baseman to block second base as Jackson slid into his foot initially. And if the throw would have been right there on the bag, Jackson may have found himself out. Maybe don't count for much, though. Not in this world, at least. Jackson looking for third, and wow, Morales. I think he just swung and hit that ball with his bicep. It hit off some part of him, and it wasn't a bat because it didn't make any noise. Wow. Morales. With Jackson now back at second base. Morales does not chase the high cheese there, but he's still very much in the hole at 1-2. Will we see Jackson move here? We will not, and that may have been the pitch to move on as that one was low and outside. Would have been a tough ball to throw on. Morales We'll move it to 2-2, though, on a good eye. Maldonado up after him. And Morales sends this for a ride, deep to left. He flips the bat, and it is up and out of the castle. Emmanuel Morales with a huge home run that puts the Knights back out in front by 2. The excitement written all over number 25's face, and who could blame him as he sent that for a ride through the top window of the castle. Up, up, and out. And we did not see a lot of balls hit that hard in game number 1. We saw one that was dead center, about maybe 2-3 feet away from the fence, but really outside of that, everything was gappers. Morales brings the crowd to their feet with the 2-run home run to deep left center, or excuse me, down the left field line. Avery Point has got to regroup. And what an at-bat by Morales, not just the finish, but that was a 2-1 count at one point, or a 1-2 count. He was in the hole, and he fought all the way back to get it to even, and then come around with that big home run. That is a great piece of hitting by number 25. Here's number 24. Manuel Maldonado. And a lot of great players have worn that number 24 jersey. Personally, as a Red Sox fan, I think of Manny Ramirez when I see that number 24. All my Seattle Mariner fans out there, we know who you think of. Mariners fans got to be happy given that big trade with the Cincinnati Reds that happened earlier today, bringing Suarez and Jesse Winker to Seattle. And Emmanuel Maldonado will head to first, but not for much, as he is a strikeout victim. And that is out number 2 here in inning number 3. Liam Bowers picked up a walk in his first at-bat. What does he have here in at-bat number 2? Well, we're going to find out here in a second. At-bat number 2 will come with 2 outs. So it's all or nothing here for number 3, so to speak. And Bowers with a good eye. I know personally I would have swung at that one. That high and outside cheese. Bowers looking for something a little lower that he can drive. Though he swings at that one. And for my money, that looked like it was in the same spot. 2-1 the count will be now. And we've got some warm-up action in the bullpen for Avery Point. We've already seen the Knights go to their bullpen once. Will we see them go again? Bowers shoots this into center, but right to the center fielder. Though it died on him just for a second. This looked like he had to come in at that last second and make the catch. The catch is made, though. And that's the third and final out of this third inning. But the Knights have gotten out to the lead here once again. Avery Point now the team that has to play catch up. They played catch up well already. Can they play catch up again? We'll find out. They'll have a chance to see Fagan for the second time when we come back. can't pitch with music. Can't have music during the game. This isn't an NBA game. And Fagan. Whoa, he got the call on that one. It'll run the count to 1-1. Here's Burgess. He reached on an error in his first at bat. And Fagan comes right back with the same pitch. And a great job of blocking the plate, but also a great job of discipline at the plate. You saw those arms start to come forward, but cooler heads eventually prevailed, and it moves to even at 2-2. And now it'll move to full as that one's just a bit high. And that one, if it caught the bottom half of the letters on the jerseys, that would have been strikeout material. Instead, he's walked him. So he's hauled 2 straight great pitches and then 4 balls. Lozier is up at the plate, and by my scorecard, he grounded out in his first at-bat. He's getting a chance to bat with 1 on, and that is a solid bunt set down the first base line, and that'll go down as a sacrifice. So productive start to this inning. And Mockel sends that one for a ride into the gap in center, but it's caught. And it's not deep enough to get the runner to tag from second. So it'll be 2 outs and a runner at second. And Fagan, he gave up that walk, but then he made quick work of the last 2 batters. Though, of course, helped out a little bit on that sacrifice bunt. Here comes Malcolm Mention. He reached on an error and had a strikeout in his first 2 at-bats. Here getting a chance to bat in the 4th inning. Malcolm Mention was batting lower down in the lineup in game number 1, but had a really productive day, or game, I should say, with the bat in his hand. And he was able to get pushed up into that starting lineup spot. Oh my, and it gets around Morales. And that'll score the run from second. And Mention is in like a bat out of hell in second base. Wow, he was coming around first base like he was Barry Allen, and he dove head first into second. What a play, but what a costly error. So that is the second time that Malcolm Mention has reached on an error, but this time there's an RBI attached to it. Dominic Morbito steps into the plate, and he's got a chance to get this game to even. It is currently sitting at 5-4. And again, Avery Point is playing catch-up. The sun is starting to set here at the castle. It may be cold, but it is certainly pretty outside. For what that's worth. This game out in front of us is turning out to be a pretty one as well. We are already headed into the later stages of this game. Remember, fans at home, since this is a double header, these 2 teams will only play 7 innings. Certainly still a ways away from being able to count outs, but if you were counting outs, the Knights only 10 outs away. If they can get those 10 outs with the lead still intact, they will get the split of Avery Point, and it'd be a well-earned split as these two teams, I mean, they're playing to a draw, really. Both teams have had plenty of opportunities. Both teams have made plenty of plays. Both teams have made plenty of mistakes. I mean, these are two very evenly matched teams, and that is over to the shortstop. And it is getting past Maldonado at first, and we are tied again. And what could have been the final out of the inning ends up being a game-tying play. Wow. Blink and you missed it. It's 5-5, and we are all tied up once again. What was that I said just a moment ago about you can't count outs yet? Well, that right there is exactly why. We got some warm-up action down on the right sideline and the left sideline. Both of these teams expecting to go to their bullpen here in the next minute or so. Fagan runs the count to 1-1. And this is a big at-bat here against Jaden Fowler. Fowler puts it in play, shoots it into left, but not deep. And in a spot where it could be caught cleanly and effortlessly. But what is certainly not effortless is this game and the pitching in this game. These pitchers are having to work hard. We've seen a total of 10 runs scored, and we're not even through 4 innings. The offense for both teams looking like they've woken up and are fighting the cold here at the Castle. Bottom of the 4th when we come back. Indeed, we see a pitching change for Avery Point. And that new pitcher will face 7, 8, 9. What will they do against 7, 8, 9? That is Eric Elliott, Alex Rivera, and Danny Salgado. Eric Elliott had a fly out in his first at-bat. Alex Rivera, a walk, and Danny Salgado, a sacrifice fly. An RBI sacrifice, I should say. Excuse me. The sun is really starting to set here as it is behind us amongst the trees, no longer in the sky. As the temperature just continues to drop here at the Castle. We have this break in the action. I think this is a good enough time, as good of time as any to say thank you for joining us this afternoon, and thank you for joining us all season long. It has been such a successful year of athletics here at CCBC Essex. It's amazing that we're already in the springtime. It feels like just yesterday we were starting the soccer season in the fall. Of course, both men's and women's soccer programs here at CCBC Essex with very successful seasons, and the women's basketball team, well, their season's still going. They have their first March Madness game tomorrow, which also gives me a chance to plug the CCBC Essex women's basketball Instagram page. If you want to find out what's going on with the women's basketball team here at CCBC Essex, you follow them on Instagram or check out the CCBC Essex Knights Athletics website. That'll give you all the information you need, not just on the women's basketball team, but on the spring sports that are right there in front of us. We got baseball, men's lacrosse, track and field. You name it, we got it, and the information that you're looking for is on that website. And here comes Eric Elliott. And a swing and a miss as he was swinging to send that ball over where Morales sent his. And what a letdown that top of the fourth had to be for the Knights. Those errors, but then coming off of that big home run by Morales. And really, it's a tale of two cities. It's Shakespearean, so to speak. Morales has the big home run in the bottom of the third to give his team the 2-run lead, but then he makes the big error in the top of the fourth. That allows Avery Point to get right back in the game. And Elliott will take a seat on the bench. A good cut, a couple of good cuts on that at-bat from Eric Elliott, but the tough afternoon on the diamond continues for him. Alex Rivera steps into the plate. He had a walk in his first at-bat, and he was very close to getting hit by that pitch. And Rivera, what discipline and what body control to stay away from that low and outside pitch. You saw he wanted to swing at that. The arms and hands started to make the motion. That time, not so lucky. He got caught holding the sword. That'll move the count to 2-1. One out here in the fourth, and a freshly tied ball game at 5-5. Timeout is asked for and given. I don't know how many more times they're going to see that in this game if they want to make sure they get all 7 innings in. And Elliott again. Or excuse me, Rivera again holding off on that pitch. Rivera, that time, the eyes deceived him as it'll move to full count now. 3-2 count and a great opportunity to pitch out of this jam. Frustration written all over the face of the pitcher there. And Rivera, I think he's expecting to get subbed out in here, and indeed it looks like he's walking over to the bench, and they will go to a pinch runner. So pinch runner comes into the game for Rivera, and that means one thing and one thing only. He's going to be running sooner than later. Logan Leisure steps in over on first base, and Logan understands the assignment and is looking to make the most of it. One out, runner on first. Leisure running on the first pitch, and there will be no throw. As Logan Leisure got a great jump there, and also that was the perfect pitch to run on. Catcher had to be more concerned with blocking the ball and keeping it in front of him. He was able to do that, but he also watched Logan Leisure steal second base. So the walk for Alex Rivera has already cost, or it has already proven to be a big one as the Knights are batting with a runner in scoring position with one out. And Danny Salgado, who already has an RBI here in this game, he has a chance to get RBI number 2. Leisure is walking over to third base. He's looking to take home. Oh, and the throw, he's out! What a play! What a regroup! Logan Leisure, he stumbled for just a second, and that second was all that Avery Point needed to get that big out at home. Is there anything more exciting than a play at the plate? I'll wait for an answer, and I don't think I'll get one. Wow! Another blink and you missed it moment. Another moment for this Knights team where they're going to have to wonder what could have been. They had more than a few moments like that in game number 1. That's their first here in game number 2. And it could be costly. Just like that, there's 2 outs, but also just like that, the Knights get that runner back on the base paths. Danny Salgado now has a walk to go along with his sacrifice. And it is the top of the lineup once again. Vincent Martinez, an error and a ground out to his name so far. Vincent Martinez came around to score, though, on that error earlier in the game. And that outside part of the plate has been open all afternoon. Vincent Martinez has to be aware of that now with 1 strike on. Salgado's running, and he'll run back to first. And given the way that the third base coach reacted to that, I think Salgado maybe had the take sign on, or coach was expecting him to just understand not to swing at that, given where it was and given where the runner was on the bases. He was running. 0-2, he's running again. No, he's not. Now 1-2, is that one just a bit high? Martinez again, another opportunity. Salgado running now, and that's out number 3 on strike number 3. What a pitch, and what a job of getting out of the jam and keeping this game at 5-5. We're headed into the 5th inning, and you better call Grandma because we got a great one here at the Castle. Doing the pitching now here for the Knights is number 6, Matt Heif. Or Matt Height, excuse me. This is Matt Height's second appearance. He's gone 1 2/3 for the Knights. He has no strikeouts and no walks here in this early part of this season. And that is sent for a ride into center. And it's caught. So Matt Height gets the first batter he sees out. And that first batter was Zachary Mascaro. Now up to bat is number 12, Tyler Rice. Tyler Rice has a single and a strikeout so far here in this game. And Height, understanding what the assignment is, as most pitchers for this Knights team have so far here in this game, they are attacking the outside portion of the plate, as you see that once again on display. Tyler Rice, if we were to combine the two games, he is a home run away from the cycle, as he had a triple and a double in game 1, and he's got a single here already in game 2. Doesn't really work like that, but hey, you know you're having a productive day at the plate when Mr. Announcer Man can say that. And Tyler Rice puts this one in play, and this is going to be a tough catch, and wow! Wasn't very graceful. If style points counted for anything, I don't think that one would have counted as an out. But hey, Emmanuel Morales makes up for that error earlier in the game with a big out there in foul territory. Enrique Diaz is 0 for 2 so far here in this game. Enrique Diaz has a pop out and a ground out to his name, and this is a great display of work here from Height, as he is making quick work of this lineup. And he's 2 strikes away from making it a 1-2-3 top of the 5th inning, and that would go a long way in helping the Knights' chances of getting the win here today, and also go a long way in helping these two teams in their chance to just finish this game. This is a doubleheader, and it's game 2 of our doubleheader. So these two teams are only going to play 7 innings, but with that sun starting to set and no lights here at the castle, as soon as it goes dark, well, game over. Game over, man, as Bill Paxton would say in Aliens. And that is a walk. So it will not be a 1-2-3 inning. It's a walk. And Enrique Diaz will reach base for the first time here in game number 2. Here's Burgess. He scored a run the last time he came up to bat. He reached on an error and also reached on a walk. So a productive start to the day. Our start to game number 2 for number 1. And he's coming up in a huge spot with a chance to give Avery Point their first lead of this game. It's funny how these two games have mirrored one another. The Knights were playing catch-up the entire time in game number 1. 2 separate times they were able to come back, tie the game up, only to see Avery Point eventually take the lead. Well, the Knights, they have been leading this entire time. They've watched Avery Point 2 times come back, tie the game up. Will the Knights, like Avery Point did in game number 1, find a way to get out in front for a third and final time? And that one looked like it got away from him just a bit. So 2-1 is the count. And that wind and cold air out there has got to be playing a factor for these pitchers, As it gets colder and colder, it's got to get more difficult to grip the ball and really feel the seams on the ball. Difficult enough to create spin on the ball. You talk to anybody who's done any pitching at any high level, it's difficult to spin that ball. That much more difficult when it's cold out there like that, and they'll take the easy out at second as that ball was hit hard to the shortstop, but right at him. And that is out number 3, and we will go to the bottom of the 5th. And we're back here. We are back here at the Castle in the bottom of the 5th, and Mitchell Haywood will lead off for the Knights, and he's the man they want leading off this inning, given the way he's swinging the bat in this game. He's got a double and a walk to his name, and he came around and scored a run as well. And that is another strike. It moves it to 1-1. Haywood comes swinging at that. It looks playable for a second, and it ends up being playable, but it goes off of the catcher's glove. Those are tough plays to make. I know the gentlemen in the three-letter league, they make it look easy, but it is not. That's a tough play to play, tough play to make. Mitchell Haywood will take this gift and try and make the most of it. Oh my, what a pitch! And a huge strikeout on a big bat that is feeling himself. Mitchell Haywood will walk back to the bench, say a few words that I'm not allowed to repeat here on this broadcast, I'm sure. That is a frustrating at-bat. 5-5 is the score, and Danny Jackson sends it up the chute, but not far enough. And that'll be an out on another bat that is swinging pretty well. We talked about the cold air, how it plays an effect on the pitchers, and how it's got to become more and more difficult to grip that ball and really feel the seams. I'm sure cold hands have got to play a factor when you're gripping that bat as well. Speaking of cold hands, here's a man with some hot hands and a hot bat, Emmanuel Morales. He left nothing a chance that time, went for the slide, but it was out of play. Emmanuel Morales, hot hands, hot bat. He's the one who had that 2-run home run that gave the Knights the 5-3 lead. He sent a moonshot up and out of the castle over the left field wall. And if he's going to get on base here, it's going to have to come with 2 outs. And Emmanuel Morales, I think safe to say what he was thinking about with a swing like that. He was thinking about sending that for a ride again. And the umpire, he's not going to say it, so I'll say it for him. He doesn't get paid enough to get hit like that with that ball on a cold day like this. He is... Oh, goodness, poor guy. 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1 pitch away from pitching into the 6th inning and keeping this game tied at 5-5. What a game this second game has been. What a game both these games has been. A little chopper to third base. Morales is safe. What hustle by number 25. And that was a good clean at bat there. You saw the 2 strikes. That one was too close to take. So he manipulated the barrel, just got the bat on it, sent it over between short and third. Made him do the rest of the work, and they were unable to do it. I'm going to make an executive decision on the scorecard there and say that should go down as a single because I think Morales beat that throw out. We'll await official word on that, but in the meantime, here comes Emmanuel Maldonado, who is 0 for 2 right now, a ground out and a strikeout to his name, and maybe an afternoon at first base that he'd like to forget. At least somewhat. It's not, oh, wow, that was close. Morales was hustling down the line, and he was hustling to get back to first that time. Don't take it away from me, please. Maldonado is talking about those struggles he's had at first base here today. And really those struggles going back to game number 1. He had a costly error in game 1. Maldonado is certainly not the only one who's committed some errors in this game. And that one, the closest one so far. Morales maybe going to take a half a step closer to the bag. I talk about those struggles that Maldonado has had. It has not all been bad for Maldonado with the glove in his hand. He made a tremendous play taking away a single and maybe even an RBI where he caught the ball down the line, kept it in the infield again. Oh, whoo! Just when you think it can't get any closer than the last one. Wow, that'll bring us to the edge of our seat. 2 outs. Maldonado still waiting to see his second pitch. He'll see it. Morales is going to second, and he's out. What a throw. What a huge defensive play again for Avery Point. That is the second straight inning for the Knights where they have had a huge base running error come back to hurt him. Maybe that one not as bad, as that one is less of an error and more of just a great play by the catcher and the shortstop. And I think that is all she wrote here in this one, given the way these two teams are lining up. There's no tying in baseball, so they'll finish this at some point, I'm sure. But that is all she wrote for me. And I want to thank you for joining us here on this Monday afternoon. We can see you again this Thursday for more baseball action. And if you're into lacrosse, you can see us on Saturday live here from the Castle. Check out ccbcessexwebsite.com for more information. And until next time, stay warm. I'm Aaron Thomas.